Hi, welcome to my video on finding the factors of natural numbers. Factors are very important in math. It's used in doing quadratics, doing rational expressions, solving equations, cubics, polynomials, powers of 4, 5, etc. Very important to know what factors are and how to find the factors. But note, factors in this video are the natural numbers, which is N stands for natural, 1, 2, 3, 4, ... 10 has factors, natural numbers of 1 and 10, 2 and 5. But we could also have -1 times -10. We could also have -2 times -5. We could also have a half times 20, or 5/3 times 6. All of them will give you a product of 10. But we're not going to talk about the negative numbers or the fractions or the integers, only the natural number as factors. When two numbers are multiplied, each number is a factor of the product. Example, 3 and 4, product is 12. So 3 and 4 are factors. 2 and 7, product, 2 times 7, 14. So 2 and 7 are factors. 5 times 6 is 30, product. So the factors are 5 and 6. Another way to look at the idea of a factor, if a natural number is divisible by a certain natural number, then the certain natural number is a factor. Examples, 20. 20 is divisible by 1, so 1 is a factor. The other factor is 20, so the factor pair is 1 times 20. 20 is also divisible by 2 because it's even, ends in 0. So 2 is a factor. So the other factor, 2 into 20 goes 10. So 2 times 10 is a factor pair. Another factor of 20, divisible by 20, 20 is divisible by 5. 5 is a factor. So the other factor, 5 into 20, 5 divided by 20 goes 4. 4 5s, 5 times 4 makes 20. So we can, divisibility comes up the factor, we get a factor pair. 27 is divisible by 1. So the factor is 1. The other factor is 27. So 1 times 27 is 2 factors of 27. I always do 1 times the number as the first pair when I do factor pairs. 27 is divisible by 3 because the digits adds up to be a 9. 2 plus 7 is 9. So if it's divisible by 3, the factor is 3. 3 into 27 is 9. So 3 times 9 is 27. We could have also gone the other way and said it's divisible by 9 because the two digits adds up to be 9. 9 is a multiple of 9, so 9 is a factor, and 3 is the other factor. But that gives you the same thing, so it don't make any difference which way you go, as long as you get there. Let's practice. Practice means pause, work these out, and then replay. If a number 6 is divisible by 6, 6 is a factor. The other factor is 1, so we have 1 times 6. 6 is even, so divisible by 2. 2 is a factor. The other factor is 3 because 2 times 3 is 6. So 2 times 3 is another factor pair. 16 divisible by 2 because 2 is 16 ends in a 6 is even. And the other divisible by 2, the factor is 2. 16 divided by 2 makes 8. So 2 times 8 makes 16. Oh, I forgot to do 16 is divisible by 16, which gives me a factor of 16, which gives me the other factor is 1. So 1 times 16 is a factor pair. I just said that we should do 1 and the number first, but I just had a little lapse. Let's see, 16, we see an 8. So if I see an 8, I know I have a divisible by 4, because if 4 is a factor of 8, then 4 is a factor of 16. So divisible by 4, 4 is a factor. The other factor is 4 because 4 fours make 16. Let's look at 18. 18 is divisible by 18, number. Divisible by 18, factor of 18. 1 is the other factor, so we have 1 times 18. Also, it's even, so it's divisible by 2. 2 is a factor. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So 2 times 9 makes 18. It's divisible by 3 because the digits adds up to be 9, which is the multiple of 3. Factor of 3, 3 times 6 makes 18. And also you can check around. I have a 6 has a 2, so 2 is there. So I have all the factors of 18 factor pairs. 45. Notice I have a divisible by 1. 1 is a factor. The other factor is 45 because 1 times 45 gives you 45. 1 and the factor. 1 and the number are always factors of the original number. It ends in a 5. So therefore, divisible by 5, factor of 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9. So 5 9s are 45. I have a 9, so you notice that I have a factor of 3. Because if 9 has a factor of 3, 45 got a factor of 3. Besides that, 4 and 5 adds up to 9. And 9 is a multiple of 3, so 3 is a factor. Divisible by 3, factor of 3. 45 divided by 3 is 15. So 3 times 15 gives you 45. 40. 1 divides into 40, divided by 40. So 1 is a factor. 40 is the other number because 40 divided by 1 is 40. 1 times 40 gives you 40. Notice that it is even. So therefore, divisible by 2. 2 is a factor. 40 divided by 2 is 20. 2 times 20. Also, I see a 10 divisible by 10. 10 is a factor. Therefore, 40 divided by 10 is 4. 10 times 4 is a factor pair. Also, I see a 5. Another reason, if 10 is a factor of 40, 5 is a factor. Therefore, because it ends in a 0, 5 is a factor. 4 divisible by 5, factor of 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So 5 8s are 40. Think about it. Factoring, very important, how to find them. Another way to find factors, as I was explaining just then, is to look at factors of a factor. Let's do some examples. This is another way to get it to find them quick. 18. A factor pair for 18. 18 is even, so it's a 2 times a 9. Now, notice a factor of a factor. Notice that 9 is made up of 3 times 3. That means 3 is a factor of 9, so 3 is a factor of 18. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. So 3 6s makes 18. And I also, notice, I have a factor of a factor. That's what I'm trying to explain. I was going to do 1 times 18 then, but that wouldn't get me any further getting a factor. 42, factor pair, it's even, so it's 2 times 21 as a factor pair. But notice that 21 is 3 times 7. That means that if 21 got a factor of 3, 42 got a factor of 3. So 42 divided by 3 is 14. Also, if it has a factor of, if 21 got a factor of 7, 42 got a factor of 7. So 7 times 6 is 42. Let's go to 68. Again, 68 is even, so it's 2 times 2 into 6 and 8 is 34. 34 is 2 times 17. So we already have the factor of 2, but we got a factor of 17 in 34. So 17 is in 68, and 17 divided in 68 is 4. So we have all the factors. So finding the factors of a factor is another good way to work out all the factors, the factor pairs. But let's try another method. Similar to this, which is a variation of it. We said that 18, it was 2 times 9. Looking up here now, same one. But a 9 is a 3 times 3. So if I write down 2 times 3 times 3, notice that I have a pair of 2 times 9. But if I take these two here, which is 2 and 6, 6 times 3 gives me 18. So looking at it, breaking it right down and taking, because remember, 2 times 3 times 3 can be multiplied different ways. 2 times 3 times 3. You can multiply the 2 and the 3, or you can multiply the 2 3s. That gives you 2 times 9, which is the original. So this is the associative property. 42 is 6 times 7. That's one pair. But 6 is 2 times 3. So 42 could be 2 times 3 times 7. So if I put brackets around those, I have a 2 times 21, which is 42. Again, just a different way to get the other factors. 68 is 2 times 34. And 34 is 2 times 17. So 2 times 2 times 17 will also give you 68. But if you look at it, that we have right here, we have a 17 and 2 2s are 4. So over here we multiplied the 2 and the 17 to get 34, but now we can go with a 4. Different ways to get the factors, factor pairs, factors of a factor. Let's practice. More practice. Pause, work these out. Factor pair of 15 is 5 and 3. It's no good to, you could write down 1 times 15, but it still ends up in the same spot. So 3 and 5 are a factor pair. So there's no factor of a factor here because 3 and 5 is prime. Let's go to 28. Factor pairs of 28 is, we could go 4 times 7 is 28. And 4 is 2 times 2. So we got one factor pair. Let's see if we can find the other one. 2 times 2 times 7. So we already got the 4. Let's go with the other 2. 2 times 14. So that's another pair of factors of 28. Besides 1 and 28. 63. Notice it adds up as a 3 here. It adds up to be 9. 9 is a multiple of 3. So I can go with a 3. I can go with a 9. Let's go with a 3 because it adds up to be 9, which is a multiple of 3. 3 times 21 gives me 63. But notice that 21 is 3 times 7. So 3 times 3 times 7. We already have 21, so let's go with these two. That's a 9 times 7. So that's another way to get the factors by doing a factor of a factor. Find all the factors of a natural number by using any combination from A to D below. One of the first pair of factors that I always write down is 1 times the number. Always first. 1 and the number is always a factor pair. You can use your divisibility rules for 2, 3, 5, 9, 10, and repeated digits. Like 2 is even, ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, even number. 3, sum of the digits is 3, multiple of 3. 5, it ends in a 5 or ends in a 5. 9, the sum of the digits is a multiple of 9. 10, it ends in 0. Let's go back to 5. If a number ends in a 5 or a 0, it's divisible by 5. Little error there. And we can also have repeated digits like 444 or 777. C, factors of a factor that we just discussed. And then also, we look for the prime numbers. So if we can't get one, if we can't get the normal ones like 2s and 3s and 5s and 9s and 10s, then we look for the prime numbers. 2, 3, 5, we know them, but we also look at the 7. And we also look at The next 9, no, 10, 11 is prime. 12, no, 13 is prime. So if you keep going with the prime numbers, but you don't have to go too high. Normally, they don't make them like 61 is prime, but you could have 61 as a factor. But try to keep it simple when we work things out. Make sure you understand. Find all the factors of each in ascending order. Do factor pairs first. We have an 8, which is 1 times 8. 8 is even, so 2 is a factor, so it's 2 times 4. So we have no more, so we're going to put them all in order. We go 1, and then we got a 2, and then we got a 4, and then we got an 8. Notice that 1 and 8 is on the end, 2 and 4 are in the middle. That's the way you think about writing them down. But 12. 12 is 1 times 12, always. Always do 1 in the number. 12 is even, so it's 2 times 6, because 2 6s are 12. 6 got a factor of 3, so 3 is a factor of 12. So 3 into 12 goes 4. So again, notice if you see a factor, look at that factor, and its factors will also be in the one we're talking about. So we got a 1 and a 12 that goes on the ends, a 2 and a 6 and a 3 and a 4, if you want to write them in ascending order. 35 is 1 times 35. 35 ends in a 5, so 5 is a factor. 5 times 7 is 35. And there's no more because 5 and 7 are primes. So we got 1, 35, 5, and 7. 1 and 35 go together, 5 and 7 go together. 54. 54 is 1 times 54. Remember, 1 and the number are always factors. 54 is even, so it's 2. It ends in a 4, so it's even. So that's a 2 times 27. 27 has it adds up to be a multiple of 9, so there's a 9. Multiple of 9, 9 is here. So how many 9s makes 54? 6. And if we look around, it adds up to be a 9. 9 is a multiple of 3. So 3 is a factor of 54. So 3 into 54 will go 18. Or you see a 6. A 6 has a 3. A 9 has a 3. So 3 divided into 54 gives you 18. So spread them out. 1 and 54. We got a 2, 27. We got a 3 with an 18. And we got a 6 and a 9. So that's one way you can write them down, or just eyeball them and go 1, 2, 3 like that, and 6 and 9. A little bit more practice. Try these, work them out, come back and see if you're right. Don't forget. Factor pairs of 14 is 1 and 14. It's even, so it's 2 into 14 goes 7. And we have them all. So these ascending order is 1, 2, 7, and 14. Or again, you can write 1 and 14 on the end, 2 and 7 in the middle. 24. 1 times 24. It's 1 pair. It's even. So it's a 2. 2 into 24 goes 12. It adds up to be a 6. And 6 is a multiple of 3. So 3 is a factor. 3 into 24 goes 8. Notice I see 8, and 8 has a 4. So if 8 got a 4, 24 got a 4. So 24 divided by 4 is 6. And I think we have them all. So 1, notice I go, when I write them down, I always put the smaller number first. So now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, 8, 12, 24. Or go with 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And that's ascending order, going from the smallest to largest. Factors of 30. Factor pairs. Again, 1 times 30. 30 has a 10, so it's 10 times 3. 30 has a 0, and so there's a 5 there. So 5 into 30 goes 6, or in other words, 10 got a factor of 5, so 30 got a factor of 5. 10 got a factor of 2, so 2 into 30 goes 15. Or 30 is even, so it's got a factor of 2. And all the factors are 1 and 30, 2, 15, 3, 10, 5, and 6. They're in ascending order. 36 is 1 times 36. 36 is even, so it's 2 times 2 into 36 is 18. Again, they add up to be a 9. 9 is a multiple of 9, so we can get 9 and 36 goes 4. 9 is a multiple of 3, so 3 is a factor. 3 into 36 is 12. Again, 9 has a 3, so 36 got a 3. 4 has a 2, so we see 2 times 18. And I think I have them all. 1, 36, 2, 18, 3, 12, and I see a 4 and a 9. Notice you have all the factors in ascending order. 75 is 1 times 75. We got that one. I see a 5, so I see it ends in a 5, so it's a multiple of 5, factor of 5. Therefore, it's 5 times 15 gives you 75. Notice the digits add up to be 12. 12 is a multiple of 3. So 3 is a factor. 3 into 75 is 25. Also notice that 15 got a factor of 3, so 75 got a factor of 3. So when I put 3 down, I can get it that way. So we have them all. 1, 75, 3, 25, 5, 15. And there they are. And remember, check these two. Just do a quick check. And you'll see. 154. Well, that's 1 times 154. I did an odd one right at the end, just to drive it home. They add up to, it's even. So it's even is divided by 2 because it ends in a 4. So 2 of that is 77. 77 is, now we wouldn't think about looking for other ones, but notice I deliberately set this one to 77 as 2 primes. But because it's even, you can discover that. So 77 has 7 and 11. So if 77 got a 7, that means 154 has a 7. So if you think about it, 7, so that's a 22. Just look, 154 is 2 times 77, which is 2 times 7 times 11. So if I take the 7 away, I have a 22 left. If I put 11 there, then I have the other 2, which is 14. So this, breaking this down total like this, you can see the 77 times 2. You can see the 14 times 11. You can see the 7 times 22. That's a little trick that you can employ. And 154, 2 goes with 77. 7 goes with the 22. And 11 goes with, sorry about, I crammed it in here. But we have 1, 2, 7, 11, 14, 22, 77, 154. They are all the factors of 154. Again, this one is a little bit different. Hope you enjoyed my video. Factoring skill is very important. How to find the factors, especially later on in math. Extremely important. If you like my video, click on the like button, the subscribe button, the bell notification for future videos, and write a comment on my video. And don't forget, look up my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com. You'll find information about me, my degrees, and my teaching experience. You'll find the teaching strategies you're going to use in my videos. You'll find the content that's on my YouTube channel. That's the topics and the number of videos in each topic. You'll also find in black font the topics that are completed on the channel. And in red font, it'll be the topics that's going to be completed in the near future. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed the video.